What's up, everybody? James Strickland here. Welcome to week 6 on my road to 2,100 pounds and my continuation to my road to 700 pounds on bench press. This week I have some overload slingshot here, and this is actually done on a Tuesday. I typically do my bench days on Mondays, but since week 5's deadlifts were done on Saturday this week, I gave myself an extra day of rest on Monday, so here we go. This is 600 for one, and this is in the Mad Dog slingshot, going here for 645. I actually woke up with kind of a head cold / allergies. I'm not really sure what exactly it was, but I know I wasn't feeling too hot. I had a lot of congestion, just felt real weak, just kind of over the weekend. Who knows what it exactly was. I know a lot of people had it around my area, but woke up on Sunday and just wasn't feeling it. So, you know, the extra rest for Monday was definitely useful. But going into this bench workout, I could tell that I had to kind of get myself a little amped up for the lifts. This is 645. Lost a little bit, hit the pins on the way up, but nevertheless completed it. Felt pretty good about that. Top set today calls for 680 pounds. 675 there with the 2.5s on each side. And I hit really high. That's probably about 2 inches higher than normal, but nevertheless, didn't get that rep. I wasn't about to try to recover that. Not that much weight, not yet. And so set it down on the safety pins, which is one of the main reasons I like the bench and the squat rack, just for safety reasons. So not in any kind of major danger there. This is my back down sets with some speed bench. This is a 3x3 with 530 pounds. Naturally, I am a pretty calm lifter, but as you can see, this particular day I had to kind of amp myself up quite a bit, talk to myself, and just kind of get in my head just to bring on the lifts. Like I said, I wasn't feeling too hot today. This was just an off day for me, so I was just trying to work with what I had. Just make things happen. You'll see kind of later in the week, things do get better, but whenever you have an off day, sometimes you just have to work with what you got and do the best with what you have. But you'll see that I'm using Skull Smash Ammonia. That's a really good product, and I use that to try to get amped up a little bit, just to wake yourself up for a lift. And definitely don't want to overdo it. Hit the rack there and still kept going, no big deal. You know, 530 pounds is still a lot of weight, but it's definitely about 130 pounds less than my max, so definitely something that I can recover from there. This is weighted dips with 220 pounds, 2 sets of 5. That first rep there, I actually got real lightheaded, so I set it down, and I think that definitely contributes not only to the weight that I have going on here. Those are always pretty difficult when I get up above 200 pounds, but just catch my breath, get some oxygen into my brain, and carry on, get the reps in. It may not look like it, but I was definitely struggling on this particular day, like I said before. But I tell you, you know, the journey to 700 pounds, the journey to 2,100 pounds, nobody said it was ever going to be easy. And if this is the hardest that I've gonna have so far, I've actually got it pretty easy. But nevertheless, the journey is the fun part. These are the days that I look back on when I'm actually sitting there during the meet. This is what I'm focusing on. I'm actually focusing on all the work that I put in leading up to the moments that I'm going to be lifting those 1 rep maxes. And each one of these days, regardless if it was good or bad, makes me actually appreciate why I'm sitting at the meet, why I'm able to do what I can do. And this is why I do these video series, is I want you guys to actually see the work that I put in, to see the work that athletes in general typically need to put in on a daily basis to achieve their goals. You know, you can say that all day long. You know, it's kind of cliche, put in the work. But when you actually can see the work and follow me on my journey and actually kind of appreciate what goes into it, I think it just it makes us all a little better. Like, makes it a little easier to understand what it actually takes. So moving on here, these are the inverted rows that I have with 13 reps, and this is 6 sets. I normally will strap up on these just to save my grip just a little bit. So my mental stage in this particular workout, I was feeling pretty defeated just because I didn't get my top set. Even though it was slingshot, it is definitely a technical lift. It's not always about brute strength. When you're using a slingshot, if you do not hit in the groove, it is going to pretty much go either down onto your stomach or up onto your freaking neck, and that is something that you don't want, especially if you don't have the safety or the spotters, things like that. You definitely want to have those in place. But to try to recover a lift like you guys have seen me do in the past, when it gets a little bit out of the groove during a raw scenario, is definitely not going to be a smart thing to do when you're under a slingshot like that. It literally is like a rubber band pulling it right back down to your chest. So shut it down for that day, and just hopefully everything else goes well, so it can be pretty much a successful day. This is lying cable flies. This is 110 pounds, basically squeezing up here at the top, keeping the pressure on the pecs. This is very similar to the lying paused floor flies you guys saw me do earlier in the training cycle with dumbbells. This is just changing that exercise up a little bit. And this is 3 sets of 15. These hurt. No, I have to say they hurt. They burn at the last five reps or so. Some of that was just due to fatigue, just built up, just because this wasn't a hot day for me, and also just because of the weight that is necessary to really hammer those pecs. So moving on here, I've got tricep rope. This is 140 pounds, and this particular pulley setup is a little bit different, so I went a little bit more on feel. Just want to make sure that I was definitely feeling the burn at the end of each set. First set was 13 reps, second set was 11, last set was as many as I could get. So I went ahead and banged those out for 15. Really killed the triceps. I wanted to make this make up as much of the accessory work that I could, even if my one particular top set just wasn't there today. But what goes through my head, after the week's all done, this is obviously a voiceover that's been done on the weekend after this week is already over. But my mindset of what happened last week or this week that you're watching right now is actually pretty positive. I had a very successful week, including this day. But during the day and actually missing that 1680 did a lot to me mentally. It was just challenging to miss that. I felt like I kind of failed myself. So it did get in my head a little bit. And I probably can say that I'm a little guilty for letting that carry over onto the squat day here. I did hit this on Tuesday, the very next day. This was actually a 725 pound just not walk out, but just a static hold for about 5 seconds. The squat set today called for 645 for 2. I can tell you my mindset under the bar right now, I wouldn't necessarily say I feel defeated, but I definitely, my mind is just not quite right. My head's still hurting a little bit from this cold, this allergy, whatever the just junk is. So I just didn't fire off out of the hole there and actually shut that down. Took a walk around the gym. About 10 minutes later, came back and decided, you know what, I'm going to freaking nail this lift because it's a weight that I definitely can handle. Just did 665 last week, I believe, week before, and it's not a weight that I can't handle at all. So went ahead and tried to get into this as much as I could. Decided that I was actually going to do a single here, just to make it quick, hold the weight, and then come back and hit a double. So I did hit this for 3 reps today, but I decided that I just wanted to get my mind right, get a little extra volume in. So I nailed that for 1. And as you can see, I'm really just trying to get myself into the lift here. You are always your biggest cheerleader, no matter what. So if you can't get yourself right, Don't rely on other people to do it for you. That you see me training a lot on my own. I do rely on other people when it counts, but when you don't have them around, you got to be able to cheer yourself on. You got to be able to do your own thing, motivate yourself to get your butt in the gym and get the work done. Don't rely on somebody else, or don't make it to where you have to rely on them. So here's the 645 for a double. Happy with the depth, happy with the speed. Actually sat there and kind of looked at myself like, see, what the heck, what was wrong with you? Why didn't you do that in the first place? Just kind of having a conversation with myself. But so moving on here, I've got my drop set here of speed squats, and this is 530 pounds, and these are for doubles, 4 sets of 2. And I actually decided to just go ahead and hit these. They weren't quite as fast as I wanted, but then again, this is not one of my best days in the gym. Just wanted to hit my top sets, and I didn't know it until after I had finished these sets that I was going to pretty much shut it down for the day. I made a judgment call and just thought, it's better to be 100% in mentally for all your sets, including your accessories. So I just kind of made a judgment call and just figured, okay, I'm not feeling it quite today. I can make up some of the sets that I'm going to miss here by leaving early later in the week. So that's what exactly I did. You'll see that later in the week that I made up some of the stuff here after the 530 speed squats. I had Olympic squats pause, which I did actually skip those altogether this week. Those mostly focus on the quads. Came back and hit the hip abductions later in the week, the GHRs later in the week. You can tell by that I'm just kind of fried. Those normally, I don't look like that after my speed squats, but that's when I called it. So day 3 here. Got a real good night's rest. This whole week I actually got really good rest. That's not something that I was lacking. I did up the calories a little bit to see if maybe that was something that I needed to do. I did double my dose of vitamins, so my animal pack. Taking extra of those, kind of splitting them up through the day so I'm not wasting them. Definitely up my water intake, my soda and my sugars, I cut those out a little bit just to make sure that I wasn't actually sick. And these front raise, lateral raise, and bent over flies felt pretty good this week. So this is kind of my my sign that something that this set is normally pretty difficult for me, just because it really hammers not only your endurance but just those shoulders. Feeling good about this really fired me up to go ahead and just put it 100% into the rest of the workout. Fatigue was still kind of bothering me. Obviously I was fighting something off, whether it be allergies or head cold. So definitely had my dose of pre-workout around just to make sure that I was going to be fired up. This is the 20-pound dumbbells, 2 sets of 15 for each movement, front raise, the side, and the rear delt, bent over rear delt. The issue that I was having last week in my shoulder, I believe it's tricep related. It's not any kind of injury or any kind of strain. I think it's just that particular tricep where it connects just feels maybe a little overworked. So I've been icing the heck out of it, massaging it, rolling on a lacrosse ball. I've got a carb buffer that I actually use, and it's actually feeling a lot better. It doesn't hurt during any of the movements that relate to triceps or any kind of pressing movements, mostly just when I'm kind of laying around relaxing. So something I've definitely, if there's one thing I'd have to say that I'm paying attention to right now, it's that, because there's nothing else going on. If there was a pec issue or knee or quad bother me, maybe I'd be focused on that. But so that's the majority of the seriousness of the issues going on, which is a very good thing. My tendonitis in my left elbow, which is not bothering me at all during this training cycle or the last, was bothering me for the training cycle leading up to the 661 the summer of last year. But that didn't obviously hurt me in any way and didn't meet. All right, so moving on here to the standing one arm rear delt cable flies. I actually decided to up the weight a little bit here. This is 60 pounds, 3 sets of 12. And this is a little bit more than last week. These felt a lot better being heavier. As you can tell, this is about the time in the workout that I realized that I'm feeling a lot better just overall. Obviously this is not a real heavy day anyways, but you know, I think a lot in my workouts, kind of just analyzing how my muscles feel, you know, goals, you know, just things that you know, I'm not thinking about things outside the gym typically when I'm in the gym, but I can definitely remember during this set, I remember saying, well, you know, I got to finish up today, obviously, but there's nothing super heavy. I was kind of excited about some wide grip seated rows that I have because I got a new attachment, but I was really getting my mind right for a PR attempt on tomorrow, or actually it would be on Friday, and this is Thursday that you're watching now, for 660 on deadlifts. So definitely I start thinking about, you know, my PR attempts in training several days before they're going to happen. And moving on here, I've got my my close grip push-ups. This week is 25 reps, 6 sets. And these, depending on how I'm feeling, what I'll do is I'll go partials. Really what I'm trying to do is make sure that I am focusing on working the pecs, working the triceps. My delts were a little bit tight from the previous set, so I didn't want to really overextend at the top. That typically will just irritate them. There's no use in overworking it, but just really focusing on getting the reps in clean. And I don't know if many of you know this or not, but I do have a personal website that I put a lot of my information on, my background, things that I've done in the past. I do sell a couple t-shirts that a lot of people have really helped, you know, they like them, they help support me in that endeavor. But my website is benchonly.com, and I actually do provide coaching and programming services for any of you guys that might be interested in that. I've actually got maybe 100 or so people that have bought my recent program, which is only a couple months old. So it's doing quite well, but I've had a lot of good feedback from the people that are several weeks into it. Obviously, about, you know, a couple of them are about 75% through the program, and they've already increased their maxes. Now, I don't encourage you to max out, but a lot of these guys will take the program and start doing it, and they'll decide, you know what, I've gotten stronger in the last 10 weeks, I want to go max out. So I don't recommend that. I would recommend going through the whole program and then seeing what your max is. But I've gotten a lot of good feedback on rep maxes going up in a relatively short amount of time. It takes basically the programming that I have done in the past in the program that I'm doing now, and it kind of mixes them together into kind of a single, easy to follow daily schedule. And that's relating to bench. At least for now, it's a 16-week bench program, and you can definitely check that out. Let me know if you guys get it. But moving on here, this is the last set of the day. This is the wide grip seated row. This is 210 pounds, 3 sets of 12. Little things that I get excited about now are like this particular gym doesn't have a wide grip attachment. So this is an attachment that I purchased just off Amazon for like 40 bucks, and it allows me to really get a better squeeze at the back. Range of motion is limited to the machine sometimes, but if you can change up your grip a little bit, you can hit a little bit wider, a little bit narrower, a little higher or lower, whatever your preference is or whatever you're trying to actually work on. But this rowing movement here counteracts the pressing movements that I do with all the bench. And this is making up the squat day hip abduction. So these aren't really a hard, difficult exercise. I just wanted to leave the gym that particular day. I just wasn't into it. So this is pretty much the full stack at this gym, and this is 250 pounds, 2 sets of 20. So moving on to day 4, this is on Friday. This is my paused safety bar squat warm-up set. This is 365 pounds for 5 sets of 1. I just basically weight instead of re-racking it. This is a light enough weight. Just really open up the hips, get the hamstrings kind of warm, just get the legs firing off before we move up to our deadlift sets. But this was actually done a little earlier in the morning. I typically train mid-afternoon, about 1 o'clock. This was actually about 11 o'clock in the morning when I got started. Actually 10 o'clock, it was a little bit earlier, 10 o'clock in the morning when I got started. I'm typically not real amped up that early in the morning, at least for workout anyways. But I did get a solid night's rest. I had my vitamins definitely in me, and got a pretty decent sized breakfast in me early on in the day, and a little bit heavier protein shake and a light sandwich before I came in. So I was working on about the same amount of calories I would if I did it in the afternoon. Moving on, these are 45-inch box jumps. Waking up about 280, 290 pounds or so right now. Definitely feel very explosive. I think my PR on this is about 52 or so inches. Definitely at a lighter weight. A little smile for you guys on the end here. All right, so this is last warm-up set, 585 deadlifts, and top set here, 660 for 2. Definitely excited and feeling good. I actually did hook grip up to about about 495. Actually, right before I did that 585, tried hook grip, and my thumbs just aren't quite ready for that, so went ahead and did over under. Reset, get my grip here, make sure I have solid grip. One thing I've seen, with bicep-related injuries on over/under is not pulling the slack out of the bar or allowing the bar to bounce on multiple reps, which is one of the main reasons why I reset fully. And this is moving on. I've got to 495, 3x3 speed reps. By about this time, I'm fully happy with my week, kind of looking back on how everything went, and knowing that deadlifts and squats. Had a little bit of catching up to do to meet my goals of 2100. I can honestly say that I feel 100% confident now that even on a bad week, numbers can still fly on those. I already know what's going on with bench, so that's just a matter of maintaining the strength that I have there. Not looking to put up any crazy numbers right now. I'm just looking to better that last meet. Now that's not to say that 700 is not the crazy number I'm looking to put up. I'm just not looking to go. I believe that 690 would have definitely been there as a legitimate attempt at the meet where I got 672. But I go big or go home, so I went ahead and went for that 702. But strength-wise, in my mind, I'm just needing to add about 10 to 15 pounds to bench during this training cycle. Not, excuse me, not 34. As you would probably add up from 672. This is pull-throughs with 500, or I'm sorry, excuse me, 150, 180, and 210. So it's 3 sets of 12. These get a really good hamstring stretch. And this is bent over rows, 355, 3 sets of 5. I use the straps on these just to protect the grip a little bit. No reason to overtrain the grip, especially in a double overhand. Infamous Cobra lat pull downs here. This is 140 pounds, 3 sets of 13. And my energy was definitely up on this day, so I went ahead and raced through the first 2 sets of this. And I actually kind of regretted it after towards the end of the second set. Lactic acid built up quite a bit. Strength was there. Just the lactic acid built up a little bit with these. Didn't expect that. But I did notice this week that subscribers are definitely climbing on this channel. I appreciate you guys. We're looking at right at 4,100 now. I know at the beginning of this year it was a lot lower than that, probably 300 or so. I definitely want to thank you guys for finding the channel and all your motivational comments and positivity, and love the fact that you guys are wanting to watch me on my journey here. I'm definitely open to questions, any kind of comments that you guys have. I'm not a diet expert or dietitian or anything like that. So if you have diet kind of related issues, probably would not be the best person to ask about that. That doesn't say that I'm not, excuse me, able to give you some sound advice, but I'm definitely not going to help you, count your calories. That's just not what I do. I'm more focused on strength. I do, I know what it takes for me to eat, but I don't really know how to translate that to, nutritional advice for other people. These are seated 1 1/4 hammer curls. This is 3 sets of 6. My elbows were kind of spent at this point in the week, so I went ahead and put on my my elbow sleeves. These actually should be just a little bit more strict than this, so we're probably gonna lighten up next week. Actually, next week we've got on tap 610 for 2 on bench. That's without the slingshot. A 675 squat and 675 for 2 on deadlift. Moving on here, this is the static holds. This first one is pinkies for 20 seconds, holding the 10. 2 sets of 1 rep each. Staring at my phone there, keeping time. These definitely help increase your grip strength. Definitely focusing on specificity and the fingers that typically tend to slip first, which is your pinkies and your ring fingers. So if your strength is built in those fingers, you will have less likely, or you'll be less likely to slip. Last one here on the pinkies, and we'll move on to, actually maybe already on the ring fingers. Same weight, 10 pounds for 20-second holds between the ring finger and the thumb as well. So all in all, there's 2 holds for each finger. This is Woodland Strength and Conditioning in Spring, Texas. It's right at about 15-20 minutes north of Houston. This is one of my sponsored gyms. Tommy Hastings, Jessica Belt are the owners. They're both power lifters as well. Been here for about 2 years now, and they've got every piece of equipment that I could think of to help any kind of strength athlete, powerlifting athlete. They also have general fitness classes, so if you want to check them out, it's woodlandstrength.com. And moving on, this is officially the last set exercise of the day. This is landmines. That's 55 pounds, 3 sets of 6. Working on the core. And this is a makeup set from my GHRs that I was supposed to do on my squat day. This is bodyweight GHRs plus 5 pounds, so I just grabbed a little chain. This is 3 sets of 6. These have really helped my deadlift strength, hamstrings. I actually worked the hamstrings quite a bit this particular day, and that night, this was on a Friday night, was pretty much cramping up all day after this, so I got a really good workout in. So like I said, next week we've got 610 for 2 on bench, 675 for 1 on squat, which will be a PR, and 675 for 2 on deadlift, which will also be a PR. So I'm pretty excited about that. This is Saturday night doing the voiceover, so got a couple days before I get in there, upping the calories, making sure that my vitamin intake and my rest is all there. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. Please like and subscribe and follow me on Instagram @SwimHack, and I will see you guys next week. See ya.